So, hey, Major League Baseball star C.J. Wilson. If you could describe this dinner we just had in one word, what would it be?
Chippy.
I like the sound effects.
We don't
That's
even
real.
need a sound guy. That's
Yeah.
Thanks.
Authentico.
I was practicing that before you got here.
And now for Dinner with Racers, presented by
Continental Tire.
with your hosts, Ryan Eversley and Sean Heckman.
Placeholder radio sound. I'm a driver. I'm very angry. This is the sound of a driver on the radio during a race.
What do you think I should order?
Hey! Welcome to Dinner with Racers.
I'm Ryan Eversley.
I'm Sean Heckman.
And I'm Ryan Eversley again.
Yeah, wow. Imagine that. If you don't know who we are, good on you.
You probably know who I am, though.
So, it's the end of October. We are traveling back to Ryan's home. We are wrapping up a 30-day journey across the country in which we met up with racers that we know and love and thought would be cool to sit down and have dinner with. So, 8,000 miles later in Ryan's
Acura MDX.
with Continental Tires.
That's right.
We now have 27 meals to present to you, the
So
listener.
you can then criticize us on Facebook.
So, next up, a very, very famous athlete,
Needs no introduction, but we'll do one anyway.
C.J. Wilson,
Right?
Anaheim Angels pitcher.
Or football player. If you Google the wrong guy,
And also the owner of C.J. Wilson Racing.
which just won the ST championship in the Continental Tire Series.
So, C.J., very well-known figure in the motorsport circles, huge car guy. Kind of gets into all of it with this. Talks about his love of cars, talks about how baseball works. You've known him for a long time.
Yeah, tells us about owning a McLaren P1, which I thought was pretty cool. And gave us an insight kind of on how the baseball world works, because honestly I had zero idea how minor leagues and all that. And he had a lot of really funny stories that only a guy with his travels could have.
So, we met up in Huntington Beach, California at Las Barcas, which was actually like a place, like if you think of like fancy baseball players, this is not the place you would have been.
Not at all.
Which is why he's awesome.
Yeah.
So, what'd you have?
Chicken burrito.
And I had a chicken sandwich. And let's hear some C.J. Wilson. Thanks to
Continental Tire.
All right, we're going to start in 5, 4, 3, 2.
There he is.
Yeah.
Huh.
All right, should I do the A thing? What's going on? He does not look happy that
He
he's
does
here.
not look happy,
He
but
is
he looks
not
like that a
happy to
lot.
be here.
He looks like that a lot.
Let's see where he comes.
He's smiling.
So, yeah, all right. He's got the fake smile. He's going to pretend like he's going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
So, what's going on? All right.
Hey, what's up, bro?
Here. No, we'll take care of you. Take a seat.
Sorry.
Nah, it's all good.
I had to swap out the McLarens.
Can you put that on and say that?
Yeah. This is so funny.
Is it?
This is
serious
This
stuff.
is our profession. So thanks.
Right. No, I'm saying it's funny that we're doing this in the in my burrito place.
Right.
That's.
I'm like, oh god, this will be the first time someone ever sees me in
Well,
here.
we were just
Yeah.
talking about that because you like send us an email of places you're like, oh, I can kind of keep my anonymity. I'm like, I think you lose that the second you put on a set of headsets.
Right.
But it's your call, man.
So
Yeah.
why are we late?
I took the P1 on a track day yesterday, so I got to take it in for service. The annual service is up, so I figured, hey, might as well just double down and thrash it at the track.
Nice.
And had to pick up the 675. This is my wife's car. I'm doing a track day on that on Sunday.
Does she know?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's too pregnant to drive it now, so I'm like, hey, I got to put some miles on it. I got to make sure it works right.
Got to keep it running.
So
Right.
you have his and her McLarens.
Correct.
Wow.
It was a deal we did because I'm building a house and she doesn't want to sell the house. She wants to move in. I said, hey, we got to sell the house. Like, it's just not working with the timeline
Right.
and whatever. So let's just sell it. I said, we'll make a little bit of change on it, and then I'll get you a cool car. She's like, can I get a Hurricane? And I was like, no. I said, but there's a new LT coming out from McLaren, so we'll get that.
Nice.
So we got that.
All right. Are you hungry?
Yeah, I'm always hungry.
All right. Well, let's. I'll take care of that while you guys shoot this. What do you want?
Carne asada, burrito, no cheese.
Carne asada, burrito, no cheese.
So
Let me ask you a question, a little personal, but
Briefs.
I don't wear underwear. I don't care about that. Did you come from a wealthy family?
No.
So for you to own a McLaren because of something that you were able to do with your talent, it's got to be pretty awesome, right? Like,
Yeah. I mean,
as a kid, I know you're a car guy, so you always loved cars. And
Well,
McLarens have been around forever.
we're about the same age, right?
Yeah,
So,
you're 2 years older or something.
yeah. So, when we were kids, the coolest cars were like the Testarossa, the
Yep.
Countach, then it's
959 Porsche.
959,
Yeah.
yeah. And then the race cars, obviously the McLaren was the race car at
Yeah.
that time. And they did the Indy racing, they did the Indy engines for Penske, I think, for a little bit, and then they did the obviously with Prost and Senna, just dominated the late 80s, early 90s.
Right.
So growing up and seeing that as like a 9-year-old kid, 10-year-old kid, I was like, that's crazy. And then they came out with the F1 at the time, $1 million road car.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, you can't charge $1 million for a road car. You're crazy. Now they're worth like 12.
Yeah, it's gone up.
So that's the thing. Like, I guess it's just been it's a brand that I've been familiar with for so long. And for whatever reason, they just treat their customers a lot better than some of the other similarly priced exotics.
Right.
So, in the sense that they actually want new customers.
Sure.
They're not turning people away saying, sorry, you haven't bought 5 of these red cars from us before, not naming any names. But, so.
Which is strange because you have a following, you have a name. You think if anybody could get one, it'd be somebody that
Well,
has
no-
a public appearance.
Yeah, but even when I was just kind of coming up, like Porsche was a brand that, it was more accessible from a price standpoint.
Yeah.
And then Ferrari was like, you can't get one.
Right.
So, and I tried multiple angles to like get a new car without paying $100,000 over a sticker, and none of it worked.
Right.
So I was like, all right, well, I'll just, whatever, I'll just forget that aspect, So, but McLaren's more like Porsche, where they want to sell you the car, they want to work with you. If you want to do something kind of funky, they'll figure out a way to do it. They're a small enough company that if you say, I really want to have red stitching in my left seat and blue stitching in my right seat, they'll do it.
They're cool with
They'll
that.
this for it, but
Right.
they'll do it. Whereas Porsche's like, no, that's stupid.
You get a color if you want.
Yeah. But Porsche will do some fun stuff too. So, this my two. I have a bunch of a couple Porsches. I do have an NSX.
Attaboy. I know you do. I know you
Which
do.
I will say, I have driven a bunch of '90s cars, and I'm putting together a sort of JDM.
I've seen you got a Skyline recently.
Skyline.
Yeah.
And I just got an RX-7
Oh, cool.
with 15,000 miles on it.
No way.
Yeah,
Wow.
not modified. There's some like the Mazda.
Pretty clean?
Yeah, super
Oh,
clean,
man.
immaculate.
Those are hard to find.
Original tires.
Yeah. Wow.
Won't drive it. Won't,
Yeah, you shouldn't.
Yeah.
Drive the McLaren.
Yeah. So the 3 of those cars, and then I want to get maybe a 300ZX twin turbo
Yep.
2-seater, and then I have a '93 RS America Porsche. I've had some 993s before. Those are great, but they're like crazy expensive right now.
The turbos have gone through the roof.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
it's unbelievable. So I'm like, okay, let me do like pre-95. So I can get like a '94 Supra maybe.
Right.
And
Oh,
they're
yeah.
all in that price range where like a lot of people can afford them. I mean, the RX-7 was high 20s. The Skyline was 20.
Right.
So you don't have to break the bank for cars like that. And they're, I think, collectible cars.
And those
you
are
know?
cars that when you and I were kind of like coming into the
Well, yeah, we're like,
understanding what cars were
yeah,
more
like
than
you're
just
about
a
to get your
poster.
license, and you're like, ooh, I want
Man,
one of
if
those.
I could afford one of those, that'd
Yeah.
be cool. Exactly. So
Like the
that's-
Type R Integra.
Yeah, I
that's
still want
cool.
one of those, yeah.
My buddy has one with 14,000 miles.
Oh, dude, that
And-
thing's pricey. Though.
And he's got a E36 M3 lightweight.
nice.
He
Again,
knows-
these are all the cars that
Yeah.
when I was just about to get a license, I was like, oh, if I could get one of these.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know.
And now you're at the point earning wise, I guess, as 30-year-olds that we can figure out a way to scratch that together instead of going on nice vacations and buying clothes or a watch. You can like put that money towards
Something I'm going to keep for a long time. I
yeah,
enjoy.
something you're going to keep. It
Yeah.
might go up in value as
Right,
well.
right. Yeah,
So-
I've been looking at trying to find a BMW E30 M3
Yeah.
because that's been my favorite car since I was a little kid. And, I get the Acura ride.
It's
and
more
like-
expensive than a new one.
That's exactly what happened. Like, I get the Acura ride. I'm making a little bit more money. I can afford to, like, maybe treat myself to something like that, which is, like, at the same time, Jalopnik does this write-up on E30 M3 pricing. And, like, the next day is, like, they went from 30 grand to 100. It's
Mhm.
just stupid. You're like, thanks, guys.
Yeah. One of my buddies, the same guy, he was like, hey, you should buy a E36 lightweight. I'm like, he got his for pretty cheap, relatively to what they are now. I'm like, oh, easy for you to say. You got it for like, you got it a couple years ago, But he's like, well, wouldn't you rather pay $100 for a really nice one of those than, $300 for a 993 turbo with no miles on it? I'm
Right.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
But
It's gorgeous.
the thing is with cars, there's so many. They're all different, and I think I never used to understand why people would want more than like 2 cars, but now I totally do, because if you really drive your cars like I do, then you need to, you need to have a sort of cyclical thing, because you're always servicing one and whatever, It's funny because I met a guy that works for KTM actually, and so I do the motorcycle stuff too. And he was like, listen, a guy really needs 6 bikes. His name's Tom, and he's like, a guy really needs 6 bikes. I'm like, why do you need 6 bikes? And at the time I had 7, so I was like, help me figure this out.
I've got a surplus.
Yeah. But he's like, okay, you need a track bike, then you need a motocross bike, then you need like a bike you can put your wife on, then a bike that your buddy can borrow, then like a cool bike that's, maybe kind of stylish, but like a Harley or something, or, like a chopper or like a bob, or, like a cafe bike or something. That's, a like more of an art piece. And then he's like, then you need a vintage bike, or a like a collector bike, or like he had like a couple different ones for the last one. And I was like, man, I'm gonna try to sell that to my wife. It's like,
right, can you come over and talk about it with me?
Right. But the worst part of the whole thing is not that my wife doesn't like it, but that she does.
Yeah, so she's like a bad
yeah.
influence.
Yeah, she's a bad influence. She's like, come on, get it, do it.
Nobody's
Right.
telling you not to do stuff.
Right. I'm like, hey, I want to go to drive rally cars. She's like, and I'm not going.
Right.
I was like, oh,
When
sorry.
do we leave?
Yeah. So, but she got her license. She went to the Miller Motorsports Ford Racing School this summer. Got her license right before. She was like, she's pregnant now, so she was like, hey, I gotta have as much fun as I can before I go into mom mode. So she got her license, her SCCA regional or whatever, and it was pretty funny.
How far along is the pregnancy?
5.5 months right now.
Do you guys know what it's going to be?
Girl.
Okay, so is that girl going to race?
Hell yeah. Yeah. She's gonna do go-karts or dirt bikes or something.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, it's gonna be cool. I think, everybody has a choice in how they're gonna raise their children. But because my wife is kind of I'm not gonna say a tomboy, because she's obviously very girly, but because she's a motorsports fan, and she's Brazilian, she's into that stuff.
Right.
So
does she have a favorite driver that she cheers for?
She met Nelson Piquet Jr. recently through our Alpine Stars connection, and so they kind of became friends. Both Brazilian. He's doing Formula E right now, and he's doing some GRC stuff, I think, as well.
Rallycross,
And then in F1, she says she likes Vettel more now that he's with Ferrari, because he's like seems happier.
Yeah, he seems like a human again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
I'm
trying to think of who else. But I was like, so if we have a boy, what do we want to name him? All my names are like race car driver names,
Yeah.
My brother's name was Ryan, so sorry, it's not like we're,
Are you giving me a tribute?
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Thanks. Yeah.
But it was really funny because she was trying to figure out the whole like
Awesome.
the name thing.
This is the shrimp one is this one. Okay. And that's fajita. Great.
Yeah, so here we are, burritos getting delivered.
So while we're on the subject, because we just got food given to us, why this place? Like, what's your connection or?
Well, in the same sense that motorsports, has been in my blood for a long time, so has carne asada. I've been coming to this particular place for probably 20 years, probably since 1995.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up here.
In Anaheim, or?
No, in Huntington Beach. Yeah.
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
My dad lived right down the street. There's a apartment complex called Los Arbolitos, right on Atlanta. So if you come out here and go right,
sure.
it's on the corner of Newland and Atlanta. And I used to play video games. I used to play Street Fighter 2 back at that liquor store right there.
Nice.
And then my mom lived, like another mile that way. So that was like.
So you're Orange County through and through.
This is like I grew up in Huntington Beach, right in this neighborhood.
Right.
So.
Do not attempt to pick this up. This is very hot.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm using a fork and knife here. So you get signed by the Rangers. You moved to Fort Worth, Dallas area.
Yeah. I lived in Arlington my first summer, and then I was in the minor leagues. This is my first car story, right? So my first car that I got when I had a little bit of glue, I got a 993 C2S.
Yeah.
So I had a 993 C2S, and I got pulled over going to the minor league stadium, and there's a cop on a motorcycle, a lady cop, and I was probably going like 50 or something like that in a 45 or whatever, but she pulls me over because I'm in a fancy car.
Yeah, it's bright yellow or something, or what color was it?
Guards red.
Yeah, okay,
So,
exactly.
there you go.
Yeah.
So she pulls me over and she's like, "Can I see your license?" I'm like, "It's in my backpack. I have to get out of the car. It's in, to like pull out the backpack." She pulls the gun on me.
Really?
In Texas. It's Texas.
Yeah, right. We were
Yeah.
just
Any
had that
reason.
conversation.
Yeah. So she was kind of foxy, so I was like, "Hey, nice boots," you know. It was sort of funny. Didn't get out of the ticket though.
Didn't get shot though.
Didn't get shot. Yeah. Then actually later that summer I got hurt, and as penalty to myself, I put the car in storage.
Oh, right.
So I was like, well, I'm on the disabled list, you know, in the minor leagues. I can't be driving I can't be pushing
Right.
a Porsche around. I'm gonna look like a jerk, you know.
Right,
so
right.
I had the 1983 turbo diesel Mercedes coupe, about 200,000 miles on it, a 300 CD or TD or whatever it was called at the time.
Yeah, we were kind of hoping you were going to show up in like a beater like that, like plain and inconspicuous.
Yeah. I got my lowered 3 hatchback in the parking lot, so with melted bumper.
Nice. Feel free to eat. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, kind of what I was getting at was, because I don't know anything about baseball from the logistical business side of
Mm.
it, just the game.
Well, each major league team has 6 minor league teams.
Okay.
So you get signed out of college or high school or whatever. They assign you to one of those, and you either move up, stay in the same spot, or get sent down.
Right.
You know, or cut altogether. So I was lucky enough to move up pretty quickly because I was a left-handed pitcher. Texas didn't have a lot of pitching prospects at the time, and so I just kind of kept climbing the ladder.
So like your first gig out of college was like AAA?
You go from rookie ball to low A,
Okay.
low A, high A, double A, and I did all of that in one calendar year.
Nice.
So
Okay.
I moved up 4 levels in 1 calendar year, and then I was like, I am on the way. I'm gonna get the Porsche, you know. So, and then the next year, you know, started in double A, was doing really well. Then I got hurt, had to get surgery, missed a year and a half. Then I started back at A ball. Then I went A ball, double A, big leagues.
Right.
I skipped AAA, entirely.
Sure.
Yeah, and that was 2005 was when I finally got called up. I got drafted in 01, missed a year and a half, and then made it this like 2 or 3 months after coming back, and then the season
Right.
started again.
And apologies since we're not really baseball experts, but is that more normal for most players if they come out of college or whatever and they go straight to something like that versus straight into MLB
No,
or
yeah,
whatever?
almost nobody. I mean, I think maybe like less than 10 or 15 people have gone straight to the big leagues
Really?
in the last 30 years. You know, it's
Wow.
very rare just because it's a sort of specialized skill that I can't believe I'm eating a burrito with a fork, but
It's
too,
easier
It's
to
too
talk.
hot, too hot to handle. So yeah, I was very very fortunate to get injured when I did and get healthy right away. You know, once I was able to do that.
Well, it sounds like it was young enough where it was able to at least wake you up that this can happen.
Yeah.
And
It gave me an insight that there's other stuff out there than just baseball, and I had to be a real person, you
Right.
know, with real hobbies and stuff like
Sure.
that. The biggest problem with baseball is it takes up so much of your time because we play so many games. It dominates your mentality, and if you don't have an outlet, you can go nuts if you're not doing well.
so with something like CJ Wilson Racing, I mean, because of the amount of you work, how hands-on can you really be with the way it works?
Well, hands-on, I don't get to actually work on the cars very often, but I'm constantly on the phone, email, having meetings.
And the shop
Yeah.
is in Texas.
Shops in Austin,
Right.
yeah. But like as you know, Ryan, like you gotta work, 20 hours outside of the car for the 1 hour inside
Right.
the car at least, right? So for me, I'm just banking all those meetings, and banking all that so that eventually I can get back in the car.
Right.
Because I really do love driving. It's something that I grew up wanting to do, doing a little bit of karting and doing some racing here and there. But it's been really fantastic to see the team grow and go from a totally new team with no expectations, an MX5 Cup to winning the ST championship.
Kind of where I was going with the question about moving to Texas is that just because I don't know anything about, again, the business side of it, when
Right.
you're looking at the trade to Anaheim, which is where you're from, is that part of your decision factor? Like, hey, I want to go home.
Yeah.
I want to live there. And so
Oh, huge, yeah.
And did they come to you, or did you go to? Like, did your people go to them?
Well, at the time, Anaheim had really good starting pitching. So my agent told me, hey, like as soon as I was a free agent, hey, the Angels want you. And I laughed.
Oh.
I'm like, okay, whatever. Because they had Weaver, Dan Herron, and Irvin Santana already. They were all 3 all-star pitchers. So I didn't think they wanted to add a 4th all-star pitcher. I didn't think there was a point in that. It felt like they were probably going to spend more money to go get
Someone
hitting.
else. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, hey, they want you and Albert Pujols. I was like, sweet, this will be fun. Let's do this, you know. You know, it all happened. It all happened in like three or 4 weeks. The whole, it's like, you know, a driver is like, the season starts at a certain point, ends at a certain point. So there's only so many times you can actually have talks, and it won't be public, you know. So part of the whole thing with teams is they don't want to say who they're going after, because then that can sort of change the market, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they don't want to shoot themselves in the foot. So
Right.
they didn't really say that they were going after pitching. Nobody knew what they were doing, and all of a sudden Albert and I knew that they were going after both of us. And so we were both like, well, I guess that's a cool deal. We'll
Yeah.
do that. But you know, we had he had options to go other places, and I had options to go other places as well, but I looked at, you know, playing with some of the players that were here, and you know, I mean, everything factors.
Right.
Like, you know, what kind of city is it? How close is it to racetracks? I was thinking like, oh, Atlanta would be cool, because then there's Road Atlanta there. I could go drive. You know, be cool.
We need you.
National League. Yeah.
And as I always understood it, you're a car guy way before you were a baseball guy, so to speak.
Yeah. I didn't play baseball till I was 9.
Wow.
So I before that I was just a car dude. I would go kart and stuff when I was a kid, and you know, I just watched the races and stuff on TV, and was
Right.
always into it. Would read all the car magazines. Like, I knew all the different cars that were out there, and you know, I was really into that. But more than anything, I fell in love with baseball, you know, very early into playing baseball. Some kids play and they get over it.
Yeah.
I played. I was terrible for the first year, and then I had some little bit of success my second year, and then that was it. And I just fell in love with it.
Yeah.
So it's not like I don't like baseball. Some people are like, "Oh, well, you like cars so much." I'm like, "Can't you like burritos and hamburgers?
Yeah. No, I hear you
Isn't
on
that
that.
okay?" You know what I mean?
Well, and you know, speaking purely market speak, baseball is still a place that, as a player, there's just numbers alone, you can make money. You know,
Yeah,
there are more
yeah.
baseball players in the world than professional race car drivers, so it seemed like percentage-wise, there's a better chance of making it, so to speak, if you got the
no,
skill.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And you know, that sort of it was only a business decision when I was 8 years old to play baseball.
Right.
Ever since then, I always said I wouldn't play baseball for money.
Yeah.
I'd play because I was good enough to help the team win.
Yeah.
So it was funny because people don't think that 8-year-olds are capable of thinking about stuff like that, but the way I was raised was with priorities. We didn't have a bunch of stuff. It wasn't like I could get all the toys I wanted. It was like, okay, you get to pick one toy. That's the toy you get to keep.
Yeah,
The other
right,
ones
right,
we gotta. It's like there's only so much room in your closet, you know.
Sure.
Like if you want extra shoes or extra clothes, like we're not just gonna like build a bigger house. Like
Yeah.
you got to get rid of some stuff. So
It's like me with ladies, Ryan.
yeah, you know, there's only so
I've
much, so
noticed.
many,
Yeah,
I've noticed
only
that.
so many.
only so many you can actually squeeze into the schedule.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
without performance enhancing drugs. So I was like, well, if I play baseball and I'm good at it, I'll, you know, be able to buy whatever cars I want. And I knew that as an 8-year-old, so that was kind of the deal. That's why I started playing baseball, and it's been a job for me since I was, you know, 8 or 9 years old. But you know, I love it. So it's easy. It's kind of like I knew that we didn't have the cash for me to race, and I'd started so late. You know, it wasn't like I mean, my dad was on a pit crew for a midget team when I was a
cool.
kid,
I
so
didn't know
I was going to racetracks and going to Ascot.
So you grew up in kind of
Riverside.
a car family then.
Well,
All right.
yeah, I was into that. And I realized I didn't want to be a pro golfer. My uncle was a pro golfer. I didn't have the temperament for it. I would freak out if I made a bad shot. I'd like want to snap the club. I was like a 12-year-old with
You would
like
have been a huge hit.
anger issues. Yeah, exactly. I was like Happy Gilmore. Like
Exactly.
But my grandfather was a big influence for me, and he just straight up said, he's like, why are you playing golf? Like you don't have the temperament for it. Just play baseball.
Right.
You know, it's a little bit more your speed or whatever. So that was kind of what I did, and it worked out okay.
So, do you have like an anger thing, like when you're, like, say, driving on track? Is that like your stress relief? Are you like when you do the 25-hour and you're dealing with like some spec Miata at 2 in the morning and you're in a faster car? Are you one of those guys that gets like angry at the wheel? Like,
No, I don't get the red mist, you
No?
know, because there's no. I mean, I have way too much to lose by getting in a really bad car accident.
Okay, so
So
then-
for me, I always keep my head on straight. Even when I'm playing baseball, it's the same thing.
Okay, that's what I was gonna switch to. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, baseball has been really frustrating at times over the years with injuries and, you know, just You have good games and bad games and stuff like that. But you can't let it get to you. You have to just keep going because there's so many games. If you let yourself get wound up over one game, no matter what game it is, there's going to be more games.
Right.
You know, like if I pitch for 3 more years, I'll pitch in 100 more games.
Right.
Plus spring training, that's a lot of games.
Yeah.
So that's more races, you know, than you're going to do in 3 years,
Yeah,
possibly,
absolutely.
right?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
I mean, if you're racing and you're racing full time in NASCAR, you're doing 37 or 38 races a year, whatever it is. And then if you're in sports cars like we are, then it's like 10, 12 races plus the one-offs here and there.
Right.
So, I mean, to race more than 20 times a year, you either have to be in NASCAR, Formula One, Indy,
Or multiple series.
or multiple series. You know,
Yeah.
so to put it in that perspective, like I got 5 days to prepare for my next game, no matter how good or bad. If I throw a no-hitter, it's like, cool, man, great game, but like, see you in
You're
5
pitching in
days.
4
You
days,
gotta get
yeah,
your ass off the
together.
couch, you know. So that's kind of the way it's always been for me in that work sense, and it's just part of my personality. I'm pretty disciplined with everything other than car purchases and burritos.
How often do you want to hit somebody as a pitcher, like beam them?
Often.
Like once a game, 5 times a game, once a week, or once?
Once every 2 or 3 games.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is that because of personal things, or they're crowding the plate, or you just don't like them? Because as a driver, I know, like from our last race at Petit Le Mans, the Continental Tire Series, when
Yeah.
we get to Daytona, I've got like 6 guys I have to send through a tire wall
That are on your list.
that are on my list, and I'm
Yeah.
not going to forget that until it happens.
That's the key. Well, let me put it to you this way. Athlete to athlete. The best way to do it is when there's either nothing on the line, okay,
Yeah.
when no one's looking, or when
Absolutely.
everyone thinks it's already died down.
Yeah.
So you get that long-term,
The last one's
really
the best.
malevolent thinking, like 2 years later,
Yeah.
they got their guard down, wham,
Right.
didn't see it coming.
See, in your case,
That's how I do it.
I can.
I'm
I can see that.
premeditated.
In
I'm
my case,
I'm a sociopath.
some of these kids I've never heard of before, and they're probably only going to do 2 or 3 more races until they run out of money.
So you got to get your chance.
So I got to get it in there while I can, you know.
Yeah.
But I was curious about that because I know, like, we were talking about it after the race at Petite with my team because there was a lot of people really pissed off. In fact, I'd say, like,
There's some really bad driving at that race.
it was really bad and the wet weather didn't help. But, like, I
Yeah.
talked to 6 or 7 of the same guys I've been racing against for the last 10 years in that series, and they're all guys that have won races, championships on 9 yards. And everybody, and I'm 31, I'm like the youngest guy in the conversation, but all these other guys like Borcheller, and they're like, we got to have a talk with these kids because the way they're all acting. I'm already thinking to myself, like, yeah, I'm going to take care of my talk at Daytona.
I'm not going to talk to him. I'm
Yeah,
just
right,
gonna
exactly.
See ya.
But I don't forget that stuff. So I'm sure for you guys, you see those guys for year after year.
Oh, but
you
see,
know, a couple
I'm a
times.
racer too, so I get it. There's,
Yeah.
there's a kid that crashed into me at a Skip Barber race at Laguna Seca, Mazda Raceway at Laguna Seca in the rain because he tried to go like 21st to first on the first lap in turn 2.
Didn't work.
No,
Oh,
I ended up T-boned with a, ripped off rear suspension in
Right.
my Formula car.
Oh, it was in a Formula car too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sure the guy was
Not
gonna-
happy.
Thought Penske was there watching. So had to
Yeah,
go for
exactly.
it.
Yeah. I went up and yelled at his mom. Yeah, it was great.
I almost just spit Coke everywhere.
That works.
Things Rick James has said for 1-0. So ironically, now he's done he's in GT3 Cup or
No
something
way,
like that
yeah.
now, because he's got the bucks to do
What's
it.
the name?
but-
What's his name? Yeah.
Come on,
He
do
knows
it.
who he is.
Make it happen.
The real ironic part is I was actually instructing at a random track day for Speed Ventures at Fontana, and then whom I paired with
Right.
as my student.
Oh no
and
way.
now I
Does
get
he
it.
remember you?
Yeah, he remembered me
Oh, okay.
totally.
Did
Well,
Were you just a dick to him the whole time?
no. I was actually really a high road.
Pro
you know.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's driving. He could freaking kill me if he crashes at Fontana, So, more like
See,
a-
wait. You're riding in the passenger seat.
Yeah.
When we take these mics off, I'm going to slap you because you have way too much to lose. I don't do that.
Oh, so this is a funny story. So the first time I rode right seat doing instruction, Fontana.
I didn't even know
Yeah,
you did
on the
instruction.
oval.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's horrifying.
F430 Spider,
Yeah, totally. Spider.
regular track day
At Fontana.
at Fontana.
Do you know Andrew Bourdin?
No, is that the guy that died in the Carrera GT?
Nah,
Nah.
he owns or he runs the AIM Ferrari team in IMSA.
Well, okay.
And had a
Oh, did he have a big one there?
driving somebody around in a pace lap.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, go on.
Don't do that. Don't ride in the passenger
So
seat.
then I'm
Go
like,
on.
oh, cool. How long have you had the car? And he's like, oh, it's a rental.
No way.
And I was like, dear God, I'm for sure going to die right now. And then he goes,
How long ago was this?
2009 maybe.
Okay, so you're
2010.
smarter now. Right?
I mean, I rode right seat some guy in a Nismo GTR the other day.
Dude, what are you doing?
Wow.
What are you doing?
That's more dangerous than doing the driving.
Right.
Yeah, I know.
Right. Who do I call to make sure this doesn't happen anymore?
Well-
Does Nico know about this?
One's pushing his glasses up right now, cursing me in Irish.
But he's so excited he was mentioned.
Yeah.
We'll
It-
ble- we'll-
People are going to beep
good to
him
hear
out.
from
we're
you,
going
Dex.
to bleep him out.
Yeah.
No,
We actually already discussed that.
Beeplin. So anyways, so then I'm like, okay, so what are you working on? Because he was in the beginner group, so it was mostly lead follow. So
In a
it was like
430.
kind of no big deal, yeah.
Okay.
And he
Makes
goes,
sense.
oh, I'm just going to leave it in automatic because I'm not really sure how these paddles work. And I was like, man, if you can't figure out the paddles,
Yeah.
we're dead.
And you're getting in the right seat of this.
I'm getting in the right seat. So what I did was I sat super low. I
That'll fix it.
I
Yeah.
sat all the way like lean back,
Little
you know,
science,
and
right.
I was just like, I twisted my seatbelt about 80 times so I could just, it'd be like a big, cord, so it'd be real tight.
I'm so disappointed.
And then this is the funny thing. So he was super slow and was actually fine. I actually,
Yeah.
Right.
he was going like 80 on the oval or
Right,
whatever.
right.
It was really funny. So then he was, I had a GT3 RS, and he's like, hey, can I ride with you? See kind of what's going on, like see how you really do it. I was
Right.
like, yeah, let's do it. So out lap, coming out of the infield. So first flying lap, cross start finish. I'm doing like, 150 or something like that.
Fast. Yeah, really fast.
Yeah, and he's screaming, "Oh my God, slow down!" Like, and I just was like, "Oh, that's cute, little man," but
Right.
not for you. After after
I rode with
terrifying
you.
me. Yeah. And then later in the day, he ended up going off
Weird.
on the infield. Thank God. And because there is no going off on the oval, you're just crashing.
It's just over.
It's just
Yeah.
crashing. So he scraped the rear diffuser and like to the point where it like folded the
On a rental.
plastic or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like one of those exotic car club partial share rental
Right.
things. So he had to go give that back to whoever that
Yeah.
was. And in very secondhand condition.
Stop riding in the passenger seat.
Yeah.
Like that'd be like
Notice how he avoided that question.
yeah. So if I'm taking batting practice, like, is it okay to like, or let me rephrase that. If I'm like,
There's really no parallel.
no, there is. It's like stepping into a pitching contest. Like you're pitching at me without a helmet on.
You're safe because I'm a pro.
Maybe.
If we didn't like each other,
What if you had like a bad day? Doesn't everybody have a bad day?
it's really hard for a lefty to hit a righty in the head. I'm assuming you're
I'm a switch
right-handed.
hitter.
So you bat right-handed.
Both.
I mean, we're gonna bleep that part out too, right? I knew there was something special about Ryan.
That's
So-
not where it
No, we're not even
stops.
getting started.
Yeah.
Don't
so-
do that anymore. That's seriously, you got too much to lose and too much shit goes wrong. We just lost Sean Edwards 2 years ago to the day yesterday,
Mhm.
and he was in the passenger seat with a kid that's raced a lot in a race car with a cage and everything. So like, just don't do that. Man.
Yeah.
But I respect you for doing it, because you aren't getting paid to go do that stuff. You're like doing track construction, right? So you get more free track time or whatever. it is.
Basically, yeah. I just
exactly.
get discounts with speed
Yeah,
lectures.
yeah. No, I hear you.
On that token, actually, so you own a race team, which I would argue in the sports car world you can't really make money owning a sports car team. It's a great way to lose money. Most guys who own a team typically drive because it's fun and that's sort of what merits the effort and expense. You keep yourself out of the car for the majority of the season to protect yourself. What's the fun in it at that point?
He's got a big mouthful of food.
Yeah.
I'm going to answer what I know about him, and then we'll see if it's close. From what I've known from everybody you've worked with, from the cool thing about this guy is that when he started his MX-5 Cup team, it was out of the basement of his house in Texas.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Literally, they
True.
were building MX-5 Cup cars in the basement below his house. And the idea was kind of how I understand it is you kind of wanted to build a farm team. Oh, thanks, buddy. He's wiping
That's
stuff off
adorable.
my face. You wanted to start like a farm team, sort of like in baseball, where you could start at a lower level, work your way up to the pros,
Yep.
and then hopefully when you retire from your career, you want to move into the driving role and
Mhm.
kind of go from there, right? Is that the
that's,
idea?
That's very accurate. When I originally started the race team, my intentions, it was kind of murky. I didn't really know how I wanted to do it, but I mean, I at that point I'd already been racing for a couple years, and I felt like without actually doing racing against you and Conti or something like that, it was going to be very hard for me to develop any further than I was.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
other than that, it was just basically spending money.
Right.
So I looked at what a driving budget was for a year, and I said, okay, if I can spend around that much money and run my own team, develop the team culture, so that when I want to go race, whether that's in a single make series like GT3 Cup car or something like that, or prototypes or whatever, like IMSA lights or LMPC or something, then because I've done so much of the touring car, endurance car stuff, like I feel like I could go step into ST and like not embarrass myself.
Yeah, you'd be fine.
And I could drive and I'd be fine.
Yeah.
Or drive, like the right type of GS car and I'd be
Sure.
okay. The Miatas are really difficult cars to extract maximum performance from, and you have to really have commitment to like corner entry and stuff like that, which you learn how to do from driving formula cars and rally cars and stuff, which I've done a lot of. But it's, I've always wanted to develop myself as a driver, but it's not a parallel path with the team. The team develops much slower because they can't just go start racing some other car all of a sudden, whereas I can go test all these different things and try to like incorporate skills like they're tools on a tool belt,
Right.
From a team perspective, I thought it would be really cool to do it that way. I got the idea sort of from reading Speed Secrets, the Ross Bentley books, because he said, like, look, if you're a gentleman driver and you really want to control things, like the option of running your own team is really the ultimate control. Like you can say this is what color the car is going to be and all that stuff. So as opposed to spending money with somebody else that you don't like, which happens, there's a lot of teams that rent seats that, people don't like those guys.
Can't
or
name
whatever.
one.
Yeah. So I didn't want to go waste money with one of those guys when I could build my own team.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So that's kind of the way I looked at it. And, at first, the big expense, the reason why sports car racing is expensive is because you have to pay. I mean, if you're doing it right, like the way we're doing it, you have to go buy these gnarly $200,000 or $300,000 trailers and all that stuff. So just in equipment and stuff alone, like the startup costs are, almost $1 million. And we amortize that over a couple of years, but if you win a race, like, what are your contingency prizes? Like
Peanuts.
a couple G's here and there. So
We're going to Wendy's.
you might make a monthly payment on something, but you're not gonna. It's not for money. You're not doing it to make
Right.
money. But
But you feel like you're building something.
yeah, building something, building a culture, building a brand. For us, and that actually enabled us to get approved for a dealership eventually with
cool.
Mazda.
Okay.
And so what happened was I knew a guy through Mazda Racing.
Richard Fisher.
Richard Fisher.
Yep.
Richard Fisher
Yeah,
from the
exactly.
Autobahn in Chicago.
That's right.
And Fish is a great friend of mine. Like, we've developed a really cool friendship over the years. I was able to buy his Mazda store in Countryside, and
Which is the Auto Barn.
it was the Autobahn,
Yeah.
but now it's CJ Wilson Mazda or whatever.
You got to put your name on everything.
Yeah, I know, show off. So, so the
Bought that from him.
yeah, bought that from him, and then it really all started to make sense. The race team was a Mazda race team, the dealership is a Mazda dealership, and then we were able to sort of like keep going. And then as the team started having more success, we won the MX-5 Cup Championship. That was really huge.
Yep.
So then we got some funding from Mazda to put Stephen McAleer in the ST car. So we built the ST cars, and that was a very expensive endeavor because that's that car for that class. Racing against, like, the Civic has more horsepower, like, out of the box. Like, the Mazda has, like, 160 horsepower out of the box, and the Civic has, like, 2-something.
220, I think.
Yeah, and then the Cayman comes in with, like, 250 or some crazy stuff like
Yeah,
that. So
oh,
then
yeah,
everybody's got
exciting.
to build their cars up to that level.
Right.
And then it's a kind of debacle. So all of a sudden you end up with, like, a $130,000 Miata,
Yeah.
And you're sitting here going, like, couldn't I have got a used GT3 Cup car for
Right,
that?
right,
Like, something,
right.
you know what I mean?
For a challenge.
Yeah, exactly. So, but at the end of the day, like you were saying, developing the drivers along the way, like we've, helped develop Steven into like a pretty legit
He's
road
the
racer
man.
now, and
Guy's
Chad
awesome.
especially.
Yeah, he went from stock car racer. You probably worked with him.
Chad McCumbee?
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
And
so-
now he's like a legit pro.
Yeah, I mean, he's like,
fast.
Road racer.
yeah, and
In the wet, too. By the
Yeah.
way. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
Road Atlanta. I was
yeah.
watching the times. I'm like, man, this guy's on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's gone from a guy that, like, like his first race at Daytona, I was on the radio, and he was like, man, there's a lot of cars out here. This is crazy. You know what I mean? And then...
So he does impressions, storing this
Yeah.
for later.
We'll
do
Go
that
on.
for
Yeah,
later.
yeah.
Yeah, and it was really funny because, we've seen him just grow and grow and grow to the point where he's helped us develop the suspension,
Yeah.
and he's been actually very key for why our car handles really well, because he's from his road racing or his oval racing background. He understands how, like, the smallest little differences help you cut drag off the car, whether
Right.
it's like dropping the nose a tick and lifting the rear up or whatever.
Yeah.
He just has so much knowledge on that stuff that it's actually been very, very helpful. And then along the way, he's obviously been just driving phenomenally. So for them to win the championship this year was really cool for both of them. But we don't really have, there's no next step, right, on the Mazda ladder from ST. It's like, what are you going to race the prototype next year, you know? So
It's a
that's
natural step.
yeah, it's like, from Miatas to prototypes.
LMP cars.
So, so with those guys, as the season has just ended, we're obviously making plans and stuff like that. I know what I want to do with them and where I want the team to go, but it's like there's still so many things up in the air right now. We're trying to figure all that out. But the goal eventually is to do Le Mans and to be a sports car team that's on that level with Riley or Multimatic or whatever that can go run over there and do America proud with Scottish drivers like Stephen Mecklin.
with a Scottish kid and a kid from where is McCummey from?
North Carolina.
Yeah, guy with a kid that played Dale Jr. in the Earnhardt movie.
Oh, that's right.
He did,
Yeah. No, I remember that. Yeah. So you with your current program runs. You just finished the season with Mazda, and you've obviously got a dealership tie-up. Thinking about life after baseball and something to sustain you in driving, do you see that sort of dealership tie-in continue on wherever you go? If you run somebody else next year or somebody else 2 years from now,
it'd be great because, to be honest with you, the dealership business is phenomenal.
Right. Did you ever see that being a direction you would go in when you were 8 years old, thinking about all this?
Well, you look around at the people that have started their own race teams.
Yeah.
It's different than the people that have driven at the highest level.
Right.
But the people who've sort of bootstrapped a race team, they're all dealerships guys.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Yeah.
Penske,
Hendrick,
Brumos, Hendrick, a lot of these guys have had the opportunity to use their dealership.
Sure.
Like Stevenson. They have a bunch of cars.
Paul Miller.
Paul
Racing.
Audi, yeah.
And Paul does a really good job of leveraging all the cars he brings in. So.
Yeah, and so that helps. I mean, I
did that.
He
that
does
happened.
the PR for him. That's why.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That happened.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying though. So it's like because the dealership is able to be a profitable venture,
right.
And then you can sort of write off some of the cost,
some of the marketing expenses.
But ideally, you don't have to.
Right.
Ideally, you're just generating income from the partnership side of it, and through like the whole business to business side on it now is so fantastic and phenomenal. Right. It's crazy because I'm like a networker. When I was a kid, I was the guy that tried to organize everybody going to the movie. Right. Like, let's go see Lord of the Rings or Independence Day, on opening night. So I'd be like, let's go get the tickets. Okay, you guys go grab food. Let's do this. So that's kind of my job right now for the team, is I effectively manage the partnership angle as much as possible, and I try to offer the most different things to the partners, because I can say, hey, let's go to a baseball game and talk about this.
Well, that's going to say, is do you use that leverage? And
as much as I can, whatever I can. And it's, a lot of people have said, hey, if you do GTLM, we'll do this with you. And I'm just like, that's like so far away.
Hey, if you spend $20 million with us, we'll give you $1 million.
Yeah. So the idea, though, is for me personally to figure out a way that, we can grow responsibly with the dealership group and the race team. Sure. And so, we've tried to kind of manage that growth, and right now we're up to 10 dealerships now.
Wow.
So
and they're all over the country?
All over the place. Okay. Yeah, we have 2 places really right now. We have Southern California and Chicago area. Okay. So a lot of Cubs and White Sox fans. Yep. Right. A lot of Cubs fans are very excited right now because the Cubs are in the playoffs.
Right.
And when you're in Chicago, are they labeled as C.J. Wilson dealerships?
Yeah.
And no one cares.
And people are like, we sponsor the White Sox, the Blackhawks.
That's fun.
That's awesome.
The Bears, the Cubs.
Right.
Trying to think. I don't know my baseball.
It's hilarious. So the guy, like the CJ Wilson Mazda post game show for the White Sox.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is really funny. I would not.
That's great. And so I'm a Blackhawks fan, so it works. I go out there and I watch hockey games. I get to schmooze with people, and we bring people in, and it's great. Like, I've met a lot of the other athletes. We give cars to the athletes to drive around. And it's a neat thing to be able to do.
Yeah, for sure.
People are like, hey, when are you going to get a Bentley dealership? Because I really want a Bentley. I'm like, let me work on that.
About a week from now, I think.
Yeah, I think I was going to get one.
So when you guys go and play in Chicago, is there this weird obligation on their end, like, well, we've got to interview him now, even though he's with the other team?
No, it's not too weird. Okay. I mean, I think they get it. I think that everyone's like, so you're from Chicago, right? And I'm like, no.
It's just a good car market.
I just knew Richard Fisher.
Yeah, it just made sense on paper.
Yeah. But Mazda's been great to work with on the dealership side, because as we've had success, they've just rewarded us and said, hey, there's an option here. Like, this guy wants to sell. You don't have to do it if you want to do it. I think he wants to buy it for this or whatever. So Richard's store we bought because it was very profitable, and we bought dealerships that are losing money, and we've turned those around. Nice. So I've learned a lot about that side of it. And, we're working on a couple deals right now, one of them locally here. For a motorcycle store, multi-brand motorcycle store, and I love motorcycles as well, so it's nice. But sometimes there's attachments between the car company and the bike company So there's a way to kind of work that angle as well,
leverage
you know,
that.
if it works. So, but I go to Supercross and I get like a suite, since it's Angel Stadium, and
Right.
I bring people in and we try to do deals there. And
Sure.
you really have to have good people skills and vision and figure out a way to do win-win things for
Right.
as many people as possible, because everybody that's in business is trying to kill it. They're all trying to
Yeah.
make money,
Yeah.
But like here we are, like looking at this little plastic water cup. Like the company that makes this, they're balling out of control. 'Cause
Yeah.
the company that has the branding for the Coca-Cola,
Right.
Yeah.
Diet Coke, like cups and stuff like that. I mean, they're making a ton of money because
Right.
they're selling so many products.
Yeah.
So it's about figuring out how to get those people in with somebody else.
Right.
Or, that's like Ganassi and stuff. That's how they've done so well.
So let's talk a little bit about the being famous part. We were just Googling to just get some more background information on anything we might not know. And I guess part of being famous is having haters.
Haters.
Especially in a sport where it's a team that people love and they love for years, and along comes a player and they might not like them, or he might have a bad season or game or whatever, and then now you become this target. I get haters out of nobody, and I get haters just for having an opinion or whatever it is.
Because you're a colorful guy, you know what I mean, on Twitter and stuff like that. You'll say stuff, you'll speak your mind.
Right.
But I think it's valuable.
Well,
personally,
I mean, I'd rather be that way than be a robot. You know what I mean? I want people to understand where I'm coming from on things. And in your situation, you could literally just have a bad night,
Yeah.
be a little off, or go up against a team that's red hot.
Or let's say pitch with the flu. You know what
Yeah,
I
you
mean? And
gotta
just
do
not have it because you're trying to be a good team guy and just do
Right.
it, and then you just straight up suck that day.
And then you get blasted by
blasted.
millions of people because you're an international celebrity with
Right.
sports. So there's
Yeah.
a big audience for that.
Yeah, I guess it's better than having a movie that bombs, though. I mean, ultimately, like if you compare it to like one to the other,
Right.
like there's some actors out there that people don't like.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because they've been in like just bomb movies that have
Yeah.
just gone nowhere. Or let's say having people dig through your trash like a celebrity, female
Right,
pop
right,
star
sure,
or something
right.
like that. So the worst case scenario is I have to block a couple people on Twitter or Instagram
Right.
every once in a while. There's always the one I can always fire that shot across the bow and try to put them in their place or
Right,
whatever.
right.
And I do that from time to time. I
Good.
try to keep people honest
Yeah.
because some people will be like, I'll post a photo. Like I posted a photo on my Instagram of my cars after doing a couple track days. Like the tires were roasted.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, that explains the slip angle. And someone's like, hey, let's pictures of cars and more
I've seen
more baseball
that.
stuff.
Yeah.
And I'll be like,
what?
dude, it's the
It's
off
yours.
season for me.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want me to
First
do?
off, it's
Like
my account.
Yeah. Like, second of all, Instagram is 100% free. Like,
Exactly. Enjoy the photo.
I'll refund your money in the mail. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just wait for it. And it's like, man. And so then I'll be like, okay, buddy. It's who should I be cheering for? And he's like, the Cubs. And I'm like, okay. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I'm not gonna Google pictures of myself, download them to my phone, edit them, and crop them in the square,
I do.
and re-Instagram them to make those haters happy.
Oh yeah, no.
If
It's
you
your
feel
page,
like
do
doing
whatever you
that,
want.
do what you want.
That's,
But I'm an actual photographer, so for me, it's
we were
like,
going to talk about that.
yeah. So I try not to get too excited or too mad. I mean, like I've seen my wife go just blast somebody after they've said something bad before,
She's
and
Brazilian.
she's Brazilian. She's
Yeah.
got that fire, that
Yeah,
hot blood.
yeah.
But like my dad has had to deal with it for years because he'll go to
okay.
the games and someone will say
right.
something and he'll be like, "Hey, f you, that's my kid." You know what I
Right,
mean?
Right.
Okay, Dad, don't fight anybody in the stands. It's
But
fine.
has the hate ever gotten so crazy that you're just enjoying it?
Oh,
Because
I always think it's hilarious. I'm totally unflappable. Like I don't. It doesn't get to me because at the end of the day, the only opinions that matter are those of your peers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like my teammates know how hard I work. So when you see something that's not true about you,
Right.
Yeah.
like what are you supposed to say? At the end of the day, you do have to sort of laugh. And it's like having a couple 100,000 followers on Twitter and 70 something thousand on Instagram. You're like, well, that's funny. Like there's a lot of people, but that care in one way.
Right.
There's also a lot of people that care for the wrong reasons.
Exactly. Yeah.
And there's always in celebrity culture, there's always going to be like really creepy sides of it, like people that follow you home or whatever, and that's really weird. But that's the only thing for me. Like when I was living in Texas, I had some people follow me home, and that was
Wow.
that
And
was strange.
Do you know that's happening when it's happening? Like you can kind of see
I
the
didn't
same car.
realize that. Well, like one time I was living in Fort Worth at the racetrack out there at Crescent.
Yeah.
Someone was following me, and it was after a game. So that's an hour away from the stadium. And they followed me on the freeway. I was driving my Carrera GT at the time, and I in Texas, there's very liberal laws. I mean, conservative in the sense that it's a red state, but you have a lot of freedom as a citizen to protect yourself and all that stuff.
Yep.
And I had one of my options there in the car.
Understood.
And was like,
Bear mace.
am I really going to have to do this right now? These people, because I didn't know who they were, but it was just like this sketchy looking van that was following me, and it's like 1 a.m. I'm in the middle of nowhere. I'm just like, all right, here we go. It's like a TV show, and then they get out and they had a jersey, and they were like, hey, and this is the funniest part, I thought you were Kinsler. I was like,
does he live around here?
No, Kinsler lives like an hour in the other direction, bro.
And the only acceptable response was, oh, no, here's his address.
Yeah, exactly. So that's
that way.
the funny thing too, because when we travel, the autograph dudes will chill in front of our hotel and like try to get autographs or whatever. So there'll be like 20 or 30 of them, and sometimes they're nice. Like in the South, they're very nice. In Tampa or Atlanta or any of the cities like from basically Washington D.C. down to Texas, like anything under that triangle, they're all nice. But once you get above that triangle, you get like aggressive people, like pushy, mean people yelling at you, stuff like that. If you like, I mean, sometimes you genuinely have to go and you don't have time to do 150 autographs at Boston or something. But it's hilarious getting crossed up for people, because like I'm a regular sized white dude, right? So I'm like 6'1", brown hair, could be anybody.
Well, so on that token, your Twitter handle is Straight Edge Racer. And,
it's not Straight Edge Baseball Player.
Yeah, I thought nothing of it at the time when I saw it. I was like, all right, I guess that's his thing. And then I didn't realize Straight Edge Lifestyle, or whatever you want to call it, is a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing.
So what is that?
Straight Edge is a lifetime commitment to never drink or do drugs.
Interesting.
So
aspirin's out.
Aspirin as a vitamin is
no,
out.
No
Aspirin
freebasing it.
Yeah, no freebasing aspirin for sure.
Okay.
But like I had elbow surgery, and so I challenged myself not to take painkillers afterwards. So
what about Valtrex?
Don't need that.
Okay.
Got a boy.
So
right.
good. Yeah, that's the thing. Like certain medications, just a random drop in there. That's funny. There's obviously things that you need, as an athlete to get through. Sometimes like I'll get a injection in my elbow or something like that. No, it's not the 80s. I don't play for the Mets. But getting my elbow cleaned out and things like that. I've had to work with some hyaluronic acid injections, which are basically fake synovial fluid, so your joints don't get arthritic, stuff like that. So I'm all into the science. Sure. I'm really into the science of everything, but I'll if I have inflammation, I know which foods cause that, so I just eat stuff that's anti-inflammatory, like, pineapple, raw salmon, beet juice, things like that are ginger,
Are you
cherries.
vegan? Is that what
I'm not vegan. No, I just ate a bunch of carne asada.
Whatever.
No, I'm not vegan. I just don't eat dairy.
Okay.
That's the thing, because I'm lactose intolerant. Sadly, I do.
Oh, so you get gassy?
Oh, it's way worse than that.
Oh, wow.
It gets.
Let's talk about it.
It gets really negative for my teammates. So like sometimes they'll sneak butter in on a dish, and they won't know that they'll be like, oh, there's no butter on this, and I'll eat it, and I'll be like,
guys,
and guys will be like, oh my God, there's a sewer backed up, and I'm like, no, that was dairy. That was 1 tablespoon of butter on the rice.
But that seems like ultimately the prank is on them if they do something like that.
Right.
Yeah, because your own brand is never as bad as someone else's, right?
Sure,
so it never bothers me as much. But it's just uncomfortable. I'd rather not have a code brown when I'm out there pitching.
As a baseball player, what's your favorite baseball movie?
Baseball movie?
Yeah.
Ooh, The Natural.
Yeah, fantastic.
I'd say that's
movie.
the best one.
Right.
I'd say the second best one for me. I'll say Bull Durham is actually the most accurate of all the baseball movies for any reason, because it represents so much of what's going on. There's a voodoo scene with the Latin players. There's old cougar ladies.
Yeah, who was your Susan Sarandon?
I didn't have one, thank God.
Oh, man,
no, I tried to steer clear of that. I had a girlfriend when I was in the minors for my first couple years, and then I got injured, and I got a new girlfriend.
Oh, because it's like
bad
superstition?
Luck.
Really?
Yeah, bad luck.
Wow.
No,
that poor girl.
Not really.
She's dead now, right?
I need more of a giver, And then, but so you know, like I didn't have, and then by that point, then after that, I was in the major league, so I didn't have the full minor league experience in that sense. But some of my teammates did. Like we had a guy who had 7 birthdays one off season because he had an illegal birth certificate. And,
Wow.
And
Okay.
he ended up marrying a 40-year-old woman, and he started dating her when he was 21, and then the next summer he was 28 magically.
Weird.
So it made so much more sense that he was into this chick that was like, you know, instead of 20 years older than
Yeah.
him, you know,
Right.
10 years older,
Sure.
which wasn't as bad. But you know, some guys marry girls from the cities, you know, from the minor league cities, and then they end up living there in that minor league city.
Oh, okay.
And I'm just like,
Get out of here.
I wouldn't wish that upon anybody. Some of the cities that we played in.
It's called Farm League for a reason.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't have anything against farmers or
Just
farm
saying.
cities.
Sean
but,
does.
But some
Apparently.
of the cities, like
It's
some
not
of
where
the
you'd wanna
cities-
live.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, I wouldn't go from living here to going there.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right,
So,
right.
you know, some of the minor league cities are like in Austin and Salt Lake
Yeah, see,
City.
that's
and
okay. You could
That's
have a good
cool.
time in Austin. Yeah,
you
yeah,
can
for
have-
sure.
yeah, you can live there, and Tacoma, Washington. That's nice.
Right.
You know, you live in Seattle. It's fine. But it's like some of the low A teams. You're just like, whoa, no way would I live
Yeah,
here. This
yeah.
is sketchy. They don't even have Mexican food. You know.
Where do all the Latin players eat? Where
Well,
does 90% of the league eat?
peanut butter and jelly at the clubhouse? Okay, so minor league life sucks. Like
Yeah.
it's really rough. You get $20 a day for meal money, and then you have to pay $12 a day for clubhouse dues, or something like that. So,
Oh, so you have to pay for like the food they bring you, kind of a deal.
in the clubhouse.
Really?
And,
Does that come
and
out of your
laundry?
Does that come out of your check, or is that like a?
Well,
Like you
the
have to
mo-
bring your $12 every day. Like, sorry, boss.
No, yeah, $36 because it's a 3-game series. So you got to be like, here you go.
Wow.
Huh.
Yeah.
Huh.
So you get hosed on that crap.
Here's the question I don't know.
So with $8 a day, how are you eating? You're eating at
You're
Subway.
eating Taco Bell,
like Taco
yeah.
Bell.
Right,
you know,
right.
you're like begging for like, oh, it's Taco Tuesday. We get like
2
10
for 1. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
right.
Like, guys, let's get together and pool our money. You know?
So
Begging for an extra meatball at Subway. That was real life.
what's like an average salary for a minor league player like AAA?
AAA, your first year in AAA, you make $12,000 or less that first year.
A
Really?
year.
The year. You
Wow.
only get
So-
paid during the season.
Yeah.
So
what,
5.5 months of salary.
So do you have another job then?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
I got a job at Nordstrom's. I was slinging silks and merino wool sweaters. You know what I
Right.
mean? I was working at I worked at South Coast Plaza when I was in the minors at first, doing
That's just up
stock
the
and
street
some of
from
that
here.
stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
And then that's like the Rodeo Drive, you know, of
Orange County.
South Coast Plaza. You know, yeah. That's like the really nice place that everybody goes, and so you actually meet people in there.
Yeah.
You know, like Jim Palmer, who pitched for the Orioles, Hall of Fame player. He came in there. And I'm like 18, and I'm like, Jim, hey, I'm a pitcher. I'm in junior college. Do you have any advice?
Hear me out, bro.
Yeah.
Help me out. And he takes credit to all my success.
That's
because he was
now
one of
he's
the first
like,
guys.
yep, I helped him.
He's like, you know, CJ he sold me a pair of slacks. And, you know,
Who is the Kimi Räikkönen of baseball press conferences?
whoa.
That's a good question.
Huh?
That's a huge compliment to somebody. For like other baseball players, so the way I take it is, as a driver, when Kimmy says stuff, I think it's great.
It's
because
amazing.
He's super honest.
So, yeah.
I think there's some guys I try to be like that, but I'm not on that level. I think because it has to be somebody that also shows no enthusiasm.
Yeah,
Right. Could care
it's
less.
a very mixed field here.
Maybe Pujols.
Really?
He's very hard on himself when he doesn't do well, and he also is very prideful when he gives an answer. Like, hey, Albert, you struck out like 10 times in your last 20 at bats, but you didn't strike out for a month before that. Well, yeah, you know, it's like got like a 500 home run, so it's not like it's on accident. You know, sometimes you have a bad week, but it's you're a good player.
Number 4.
If you're a good player, you know, then you're gonna be okay. They know.
That's amazing. Sidebar: can you do a Wolf Hensler impression?
Wolf, I've only met Wolf once.
Okay.
So I don't have a Wolf Hensler impersonation.
about,
How about any other Porsche factory driver other than Patrick Long?
Man, I used to have a good Bergmeister.
Bergmeister. He did a
Yeah, he's an easy one.
Patrick
Patrick Long,
Bergmeister.
good one,
Yeah.
Well, I'd have to stand up because York's like 6'6", right?
Fine.
I remember when they were driving for Lizard together,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
it was like, yeah, like you guys do realize there are drivers that are the same size, you know?
Right.
God, God, I don't know. But you know what's funny though about Pat? Every time I see him, he's more tan and his hair is looking better. I think the Dempsey
Yesterday
thing's
was it.
rubbing off on him.
He had a mustache.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it
He's
wasn't
a
much.
pencil
It was like
stash,
it
no
was
less.
definitely like less than what you have right now.
Yeah.
But it
But
was
yeah.
but it was clear that he
He's
shaved
just
everything
getting
like that.
more and more and more stylish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More
he's just
Euro.
caring. He's just caring less.
More Euro.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like his hair is getting better and he's getting more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like I picture, like I remember when Pat first broke in and he was like real young and like now I mean not that he's old, but he's
like
so
52,
familiar
right?
now. He's 52,
52,
yeah.
53. Yeah.
Yeah. No, sorry, Pat. I know you're gonna listen
He's
to this
not
and
listening.
hate
He's
us.
not
not
gonna-
listening.
He's gonna
Um,
listen to maybe half of his.
Yeah.
And
So,
then, oh,
no, the funny thing is though that I'm trying to think of Jorg. I haven't talked to him in years, but anybody that I've talked to recently, like especially with accents,
Yeah.
especially with German accents, I can do some pretty good ones. Like I think I can do Jens Walther.
Oh,
that would be
well, that
fantastic.
would be
'cause he's never
excellent.
going to listen to
Yeah.
this.
He's so polite.
He is a
That's-
nice guy.
That's the key. Is he's
Yeah.
like the most polite auto exec guy
Yeah,
that I've ever met,
sure.
especially in racing.
Yeah.
Because most racing guys are very gruff.
for
you
that
know?
company too. That company produces some
Right.
pretty no
yeah.
guys. Yeah.
We'd have to go to break, and I'd have to like take a chance at it to like kind of tone in myself. You know,
Assume
like
the whole thing's
do the
break.
tuning for it.
Assume
You know
it's
what I
all
mean?
break.
But no, Jens is great. I've met him a couple times, and he's a cool guy. I like him a lot. But yeah, I think I just grew up watching a lot of movies and stuff, and acting out like movies and scenes, and pick up languages really well. So it's just something I like doing impressions. It's really funny.
Do you?
On that
Huh.
that same page, have you seen the movie There Will Be Blood?
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Daniel
Correct.
Plainview.
Daniel Plainview in the film.
Yeah, I've seen at least 1 hour of the movie.
Okay. Do you remember anything from it? Any
I
one-liners?
mean, I remember the crazy preacher guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any impressions you could come up from that? Because we actually got who was it?
Oriole.
We got Oriole
We got
Servia to do the
Well, he
do a
wouldn't
line
do
for the
it.
movie.
Yeah, he-
No, he did.
He did. Well, yeah,
He did the
had to say
ending.
what was that. Did he?
So-
Oh, he did say that. Yeah, that's right.
I'm more of like a comedy actor.
Right.
You know
That's
I
what
mean?
makes
Like
this
the
good for us
serious
because
stuff.
it's so serious that we've been saying it to each other for zero reason this entire trip.
Yeah, that's been our theme.
On my flight back from Coda back to Atlanta to start this trip, I just
Yeah.
happened to have it on my iTunes, and I was like, "Oh, watch that."
Yeah.
And then I just
God, I haven't seen the movie. I saw it. I have it on DVD actually, and I watched it at my condo in Dallas when I played for the Rangers.
Yeah,
So that
it's-
was like at least 4 years ago.
Right.
Right. That's
pretty
a good
pow-
state to
it's
watch it.
powerful stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll come back to impressions. But,
Jens Walter, I want to hear.
the photography thing, is that
Mhm.
something you've been doing for a long time, or did you just recently pick it up? And
Yeah, it's been about seven years I've been
Okay.
doing it. You know, I grew up around cameras and stuff. My parents actually met in a camera store.
Oh.
And so my dad and my mom were both really into taking photos and stuff like that when I was a kid. And I got a funny photo when Will Ferrell was doing that,
Will
that thing
Ferrell
this year.
takes
all
a
in one
field.
day.
Yeah, I brought my GoPro into the dugout because I was like, it's spring training. There's no rules. Like, who cares?
or drinking and
Yeah,
throwing stuff.
yeah, exactly. Fried-
Smoking in
fried
the dugout.
chicken, yeah.
fried chicken.
Like the Red
Get a
Sox a couple years
KFC.
ago. So I had like my GoPro over Sosha's shoulder, and it was right as Sosha was like trading
Getting
Will
rid of him,
Ferrell,
yeah.
and his face was like typical, like what, like the Will Ferrell thing. It was great. It was really good.
Yeah.
So I have fun with it. I haven't really figured out a way. Although I guess I can announce on this podcast, like
Won't be out till November 18th.
November 18th,
So.
yeah.
that's my birthday, so that's good.
Oh,
So
wow.
Nice.
Dude,
happy
yeah.
birthday to me. What I really want to do is start photographing people's car collections. The
Oh,
people
yeah.
that have like the really cool car collections.
Maybe do a book or something?
Yeah, I'll do a book.
Yeah.
And do photos for them. I have a huge printer, so I can print out like almost life-size photos of their cars.
Oh, wow. That's
and I think
awesome.
that would be kind of cool. I was inspired by a guy in Beverly Hills recently who has a bunch of Le Mans winning cars.
Bruce Meyer.
Bruce,
Yeah.
Bruce has an unbelievable man cave.
Yep.
And I was like, I could do this. I could set these types of
The
things up.
backdrops behind the cars,
Are the
actually,
cars
that one
at Le
is
Mans. Yeah,
amazing.
that's unbelievable.
It's so cool.
Yeah. So I walked in there and I almost passed out because of just like all the blood, just like, oh my god,
Yeah. Did you know Spencer Pompelli killed a guy?
So anyways, no, so this guy TJ, he actually does all the media for the Ferrari, for Scuderia Ferrari.
Okay.
So he shoots their F1 cars in Maranello, and he lives in Switzerland now and all that stuff, but he's an American guy.
That's a good gig.
And he was the one that was like, dude, you should really like use your connections to try to like meet these other car collector guys and just
Yeah.
see if you can just go take photos of their cars. And he's like, so if there's like a crazy old Ferrari vintage car that you want to shoot or something,
Yeah.
check it out.
I think that'd be a pretty awesome hobby to have.
Yeah,
to go,
it's cool.
Get to see. I like just looking at those cars, much less getting to see them.
When I go on vacation, or I take like these really cool photos. I mean, for me, they're cool. I don't
Right.
post things because I'm trying to get attention. Because if I
Right.
was, I would post totally different types of stuff. You know, like I post things.
Just like stacks of cash.
Yeah, Cash Cats. Have you seen Cash Cats?
No, what is-
Andrus showed me this. There's an account called Cash Cats on Instagram.
Andrus is his team manager.
Team
for the Continental
manager,
Tire
yep.
Series. Yeah.
And it's like random cats literally laying on piles of money with like handguns and knives and stuff like that. It's so funny.
Well, that's my
So
afternoon.
not
Yeah,
quite
there you
that.
go.
Yeah,
Right.
not quite that. But no.
But you're showing people like.
Yeah, but so
look
I
at-
went,
look
on,
how cool
I went
this
shark
is.
diving. It was awesome. Like I got to go see these animals. Like they're you know they're a protected species in certain areas.
Mm-hmm.
You know we shouldn't be cutting their fins off from a political standpoint. It's just like no dog fighting.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if I post a photo of a dog, you know, it's because I think dogs are cool. It's not
Right.
because I think anything else sucks, or because it's just because I think dogs are cool.
Right,
In
right,
that
right.
moment.
Post more pictures of cars.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
It-
no, I
yeah.
just-
So it's like
yeah.
you know I do like cars. I'm a car dealer. I have a race car team. Like how am I not going to post photos of cars?
Yeah, it's
you
gonna
know?
happen.
But I also have a thing where I won't post any photos that I didn't take.
Okay.
You know, unless it's a photo of me that somebody else took that, you know, like was
Yeah, you're
with
not
my
gonna-
camera or something
yeah,
like
no, I know
that.
what
You
you
know. So I try not to steal the thunder from anybody.
I do post other people's photos of stuff that I've done, like of my car or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
But I always give the credit to the photographer.
That's a
because
huge
that's
thing
a big
because
deal.
they get burnt.
Yeah.
Like one of my buddies shot for like a product company.
Okay.
They're like a health product and like a workout company or whatever. And they did like Men's Health or something like that magazine, and
Right.
they didn't give him photo credit.
That's not
And
okay.
he was like super pissed.
Yeah.
And he should be because it's like it was in
That's
like
his
a production.
livelihood. That's his job.
Yeah, he's a real photographer.
Exactly. One of the themes that we're doing ongoing throughout the podcast tour, is that what
Yeah.
we're calling this, is carrying on a question from the previous person to the next.
Oh
so,
God, I'm dreading this.
No.
So Oriole?
Oriole Servia,
Okay.
IndyCar star, and just awesome guy. I'd never met him before our lunch.
And for the record, he threw out an opening pitch
On the-
for the Baltimore Orioles, and he referred to the thing that he stood atop as the Little Mountain.
So I was on the little mountain.
Yeah, that's exactly,
exactly what he
impression
said.
number 7. Yeah, that's how he described it.
That's really funny.
Okay, so his question for you we'll ask, and then you'll come up with a question for Eric Valdez.
Eric Valdez.
So Orioles
Also a racer now. I've,
Yes.
I've
Yeah.
been following his
Yeah.
progress.
and good guy all around.
Exactly.
So
Great hair.
great hair, smells fantastic. So Oriole first complimented you on all your success and also that you're a race team owner, and said clearly you dedicated your whole life to becoming the pro athlete that you are, and something must have triggered that in you as a young kid.
Aw.
Something that got you wanting to do it. What was the first thing that made you want to go racing? What was the first itch that you had to scratch because of sports car racing or cars or whatever?
Well, okay. So racing and street cars are obviously two different things. So the biggest thing for me is there's always been exotic cars in this area, in like Newport Beach especially. So my dad took my brother and I when we were little kids over to the exotic dealership, and so they had a Countach there. And I got to see the Countach, but my brother went up and instantly went like hands on the paint.
Right.
My dad's freaking out. The sales guy's like, no big deal. It's all wax on there anyways. We'll clean it off. And I walked around like this and was like looking at it. For those of you at home or in the car, I have my arms crossed with like one
He's
hand
very-
up, like very serious,
very
like
pensive.
scientifically pensive, thinking like, what is it about this car? Just looking at the angles, looking at those little cookie cutter phone dial wheels.
Yeah.
Just looking at the proportions for everything, and it just really, from an art standpoint, it drew me in.
Right.
Like I was like, wow, this is the supercar.
Right.
This is crazy, you
Yeah.
know. Because I had no chance to see an F40 because at the time
There's only a few.
there's only a few of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're still really rare. And I was really into that. Was like I have to have something like this. I was
Yeah.
probably 6 or 7 years old, and I was like, I must acquire the Cash Cats.
How do
so
I get
can do
this? Yeah, the Cash Cats.
How many Cash Cats do I need for this?
That's seriously going to be my whole weekend.
And then from a racing standpoint, my dad used to take me to dirt track stuff, and so my dad was on a team, so I saw how his team was running. Their driver, his name was Robbie Flock, and he was driving midgets at the time, and then eventually he worked into F2000.
Oh, okay. What time period was this? This is
80s.
80s, yeah.
Ultra Wheels was one of their sponsors. Ultra Wheels made magnesium wheels
Yeah.
for street cars.
It's like them
and
in like American racing wheels. Like
yeah,
the two.
yeah, and then like Valvoline. So they had a Valvoline sponsorship and Ultra Wheels, and Danny McAllister was the team owner. So I used to. He had like he wore the hat. He looked like a team owner. He looked like Ganassi or somebody like that, you know. And we would watch the GTP races on TV.
Okay.
My dad and I would watch those and watch Indy and watch F1 and all, any racing that's on TV.
Sure.
So I was always just like, God, I have to go see this. I have to be there. You know what I mean? I have to see this. Like on TV, it's great, but like I wish the guys would stop talking and let me just listen to the cars.
Yeah.
And then the car video games started getting so good. As I got older, Gran Turismo came out, Forza came out, and I actually got really good driving on the video games. I was like ranked in the top 100 or 50 on certain tracks. Like there was a lap time on Sebring, and I could get down to like whatever time it was, and I was like always in like the top 1,000. But if I had a good, like people were always constantly getting faster, so then I was like, so for me it was just sort of cars. Street cars were an extension of racing. It was always racing first, in the sense that I had an appreciation for like the physicality, the danger, the technology. Just like I get like weepy when I see like old like F1 stuff and they show a guy crash, or they show like Stefan Beloff or something like that. All those stories, like I get all misty-eyed. Like when I think of like what it would take for us to go to Le Mans and actually go over there and race and compete and win and stuff like that, that would be, I mean, that's like a huge lifetime achievement, you know. So being able to have Mark go over there this year,
that was massive.
with the Riley Viper team, with Viper Exchange, I was so proud of him, because I know, like, as a race car driver, as a sports car driver, that's it. Yeah. That's 100% the deal, So for me, there's this really strange thing where I'm very logical in everything I do in life, but racing taps into this weird emotional depth that I have, and the passion that people need to have to go through the hardships and the difficulties and to practice and be told you suck, be told you're too slow or whatever. I connect with that, and I connect with the effort level required for everybody to be there and do a good job, and I think that's why it's never going to leave me,
Cool, man.
That's the longest answer I could have given.
No, but it's good. It's from the heart. It's fantastic. So now to the next side of that, Eric Valdez, who races in the Continental Tire Series from time to time. He's an actor that's been on General Hospital and
Graceland.
So dreamy.
And smells fantastic, as you said. Good-looking guy.
There is no way he's 35.
36? I thought he was your age.
He's 35, 36. Yeah, he's 36.
Okay.
He looks like he's 28. Or I just look like I'm 50. I'm not sure.
I think it's your side.
Yeah, I think it might be my side.
So if you could ask Eric Valdez anything, what would it be?
I guess my question for Eric Valdez would be,
wow,
Mr. Valdez. That's actually just a sort of random character that I play sometimes. The Colombian drug lord,
or Hank Azaria in the Birdcage.
Oh, Hank Azaria Birdcage. Yeah, that was on TV the other day. Yeah.
I put on my shoes and I fall down.
Yeah. No, I would ask him. Sort of what are his plan? Like, what's his development plan? Now that he's transitioning from actor to athlete. What is his plan to get the most out of his effort level so that he can take it to the furthest it can go? How far does he want to go in racing? Because I think that's a very important question, for guys that are racing, especially guys in his position or my position that are, famous or infamous for doing something else, And also I would ask him the second part question.
Cheating already.
Do whatever you want.
I was not told that there's
No, it's fine. You can make it rules.
This is a funny question, so you guys will appreciate this.
You can tell he's been working with.
Yeah. Can you describe the quality level at the racetrack versus the set? Like what's the babes on set versus the babes at the racetrack.
Well, especially as a soap opera star.
Well, I mean, basically, it's like anywhere you go, you have to grade on the curve.
Yeah.
Like a racetrack.
Like a Daytona 10.
Exactly. A Daytona 10 is like a Hollywood 2.
Hollywood 4.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
But you just still have to play your numbers right.
Yeah.
It's like being prison gay.
Here's
it's like what?
What?
Prison gay.
Prison gay.
But you know what the scariest thing is, though? This is the same thing. Like when you go to, it's like if you go to a golf course, right? And you see like an attractive woman there, you're like, oh, that's someone's.
Sure.
She's possessed by somebody else already. Someone already has.
Possessed?
Well, someone owns her.
Let's talk about it. Yeah, let's get into that.
Well, there's a lot of like Russian money out there. No, but it's like you never want to make the comment like, hey, whose
Who
babe
owns
is
you?
that?
Yeah.
No, whose babe is that, right? And then it's like somebody's wife, and you're like that's in your vicinity. Then you're like, ooh, sorry, bud, didn't mean. I wasn't
nice job.
implying.
Nice job.
I wasn't implying that anybody's hitting on your wife, but yeah, that's the thing. Like, I'd be very curious about that, because I also know that actor chicks are pretty crazy. They can be. I've heard some stories about some people, from people in the industry that have just be like, when I was single, they were like, never date an actress. Like, it'll be the worst roller coaster you ever go on.
Sean?
I'll back that up 100%. Go on.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'd be curious what Eric's take is, like, because a lot of the girls at the racetrack are like, they're all somebody else's wife or somebody else's.
Yeah,
babe
none of them.
or-
Well, most of them are there
are
for
not,
a reason.
They're not there eligible.
Yeah,
They're not
hanging
eligible.
out.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, oh, Brazelton, I'll
'Cause-
go there.
Yeah, because there's always this.
Sebring, Florida. Why not?
Because there's this mystique around the racetrack, right? Like, you see, like, they try to like glamorize it and stuff. Like, there's all these like really hot girls and all that stuff. But it's like you go there and it's like, the three of us and then Glenn. You know what I mean?
So,
And
We'll get into that.
And then
Yeah.
Kyle Gimple's mom or somebody like that. You know what I mean? You got
Actually, Heather Gimple getting a shout out. She's
Yeah.
gonna love it.
from back in the Skip Barber days.
Yeah, good family. I like those guys.
If you're single, I actually think that's one of the hardest things to fight if you travel a lot, because there's this image that you're going to racetracks. So it's all glitz and glamour and girls everywhere. And they're like, and you're like, no, trust me, it's a sausage fest.
I've always said that.
in Mansfield, Ohio.
I've dated girls that had no clue about racing,
Yeah.
and their dads had been like, "Oh, you got a girl in every port." I'm like, I wish. I wish. Like,
Well, some places.
yeah, I'm getting pretty lucky down in Sebring these days. Really,
Yeah, like at the alligator bar, right?
have you ever hit a home run?
No, I've hit a triple in the majors. I was just talking about just the majors. 'Cause
Yeah,
in college I hit
yeah.
home runs and stuff. But yeah, I hit a triple in Houston when they were still National League. And I was running around the bases, and it was the highlight of my career. Absolutely. Like, I hit that ball, and I was like, this is the best day of my life.
I hit one.
It's great.
How good are you at batting? Like, and
I'm good.
and
I'm a good hitter.
And so, like, why don't they put more emphasis, I guess, in the National League at least, on pitchers' hitting capabilities?
Because a lot of them are just doo-doo.
they just don't put enough time into it. Like, I mean,
Yeah, it's part
you
that.
guys are world-class athletes. I figure, is it just the timing? Like, there's no time to do it with all the other stuff you got going on?
No, that's exactly the opposite. Is
Oh.
that pitchers are lazy,
Ah.
and coaches reinforce the laziness by preventing pitchers from practicing hitting.
Is that just to save strength in the arms?
They think,
or, right?
they think it's like bad for you somehow.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the guys that are the best athletes are the best players.
Right.
So anything you do that makes you more athletic, it's going to help you understand the game better.
Right.
Like, I'm a good hitter. I think there's probably like, let's say 30 pitchers in the big leagues that
Yeah.
are good hitters. Like out of all of us, out of the 400 pitchers or something like that, there's probably 30 good hitters,
yeah.
maybe 40. So the top 10% is pretty decent. Like, where we could actually, like, I could go play outfield and not embarrass myself.
Right.
But just like there's at least 20 or 30% of all hitters that could be pitchers.
Mm-hmm.
They have good arm strength. They could throw a second pitch or something like that.
Sure.
Michael Young had an incredible knuckleball, and one of my biggest regrets is I never got to see him pitch in a game. 'Cause I
Right.
thought that would have been great to have him out there throwing
Yeah, see
knuckleballs
it.
and stuff. But yeah, I got a couple hits. I got 2 hits this year. I batted 300 this year because I was 2 for 6, 333.
Nice.
So I tried to stretch a single into a double, got thrown out. But I was trying to be athletic.
Do you guys give you shit? Do they laugh at you?
Oh my! They were all over
Like,
me. They were
yeah,
like, "What are you doing?" And
"What
then
are you doing, man?"
Ibar comes up, and Ibar's like total thug on the base path. So he's like, "Dude, I would do the same thing." So
That's 9.
That's nine.
That's
Nine
nine.
impressions.
yeah, I don't think about it. I just work them in there.
No, that's
you know?
good.
Yeah,
no,
that's
that's
good.
way better than what we've been getting.
So,
Pat Long wasn't really into it, but then he started
but
ripping
he,
off
yeah,
some.
he could do a few.
Yeah, that's
I'd
not
say
even
let's-
like. That's
I'd
not
love
even
to
like
see
a,
Pat do Pat. Can Pat, Patrick
We
Long,
didn't know that.
Patrick
Can you
Dempsey?
do Pat?
Oh, Pat do Patrick Dempsey.
Yeah.
Yeah. We kind of stayed off the Dempsey stuff.
Can you do a Pat Long?
I haven't talked to him enough
Yeah.
to really get his
Yeah.
mannerisms down, but he's very smiley.
Can you talk like a robot?
A Canadian robot?
Yeah, he thinks he sounds Canadian.
He actually, as I was reviewing the stuff yesterday, he does sound Canadian.
I never
Yeah.
got that.
He just has
Yeah.
a inflection at the end of
Yeah,
the
he's got
words.
this
eh?
weird,
Yeah.
Yeah, like, it's like, wait, you're from Redondo. What are you doing?
Well, it's like a surfer. It's like a Brody
Yeah.
version of a Canadian.
Brody
All right, it's gonna appeal to like 8 people.
Okay.
But you have to deal with Glenn, who is a very high energy PR guy.
Yes.
So you must hang up the phone and like do the thing to your wife. I'm sure. Like a Glenn, like, oh my God, you'll not believe what he just
I
said.
just put him on speaker. He's too. I can't Glenn.
Why is there no Glenn impression?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I want to hear a Glenn. You
it's
must
just-
do a Glenn.
No.
So you've never done a Glenn.
No. I've done. I can do Steven a little bit.
Okay.
Oh, that'd be good.
Let's hear it.
God, I need something to talk about.
right.
though.
Like
Yeah,
you just
sure.
won the
You need a
championship.
prompt.
Very happy. Wet weather.
Man, give me a second. Like I need complete silence. I need complete like 22 Jump Street, right? Yeah.
Method.
My name is Jeff.
What are you doing right now?
yeah.
That's my impression. That sounds awful.
Gosh, yeah. No, I don't know. Like one time I was on the phone with John Heindahl and Jeremy Shaw and Glenn all at the same time.
That
And I put it on speaker. I put it on speaker,
Right,
and
that's
Liz was like, Liz is Brazilian. She said, "I have no idea what any of that was. I don't know. I didn't hear any of that. I just heard like yeah.
Telemarketers are getting worse.
Yeah. But actually, I think I'm working on a deal with John to go to Dubai
Oh, okay.
for the big race out there
right.
to
cover it.
To cover it.
That's
yeah.
awesome. You did a great job when you called in. What race was that this year? You called in. Was it Sebring?
I was at Daytona.
Daytona. Yeah, you called
Yeah.
in. You were or not called in, but you were in the booth for at least like half an hour. Or
Yeah,
something?
I love it. I
Yeah,
mean,
you
you
did a
know,
good
it's
job.
like you couldn't pay me any pile of money to be a. I mean, maybe.
Hold on. Yeah.
Yeah, but like I would never sign up to be a baseball announcer.
Oh, really?
Couldn't stand.
No?
I can't stand it.
Really?
Yeah, there's only a couple of the guys that I've ever been around that I actually like, because a lot of them, the further they get away from the game, the better they think they were,
Okay.
and the
sure.
easier the
Turns
game
into
looks to
about
them
them.
at
Right.
that point.
Yeah.
In
But I
terms
really
of criticism and
yeah, the criticism and like the weird like obscure coaching they try to give you while you're playing. You know, I don't sit around and watch the replays of my games, but I've been in the clubhouse or whatever when like Weaver will be pitching or somebody else, like Garrett. And he'll be just be like, oh, you know, this and that and this and that. I'm just like, dude, you can't say that. Like, what do you don't
Yeah, you don't know.
you don't
It's too
know.
long.
Like, it's
Yeah.
really this is hard, man. Remember how
Yeah,
hard it
this
was
is
when you
harder.
didn't make the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
you
right.
know, like that's how it is. So so I would never want to do it. Plus the schedule sucks because it's the same schedule we have.
Yeah, you're
so
nonstop.
it's
Right.
162 games. Like I don't want to do that. I want to have kids and be there. And, you know.
Right.
So whatever job I have, like I don't mind the racing thing because you're gone for let's say 15 weekends a year, 16 weekends a year. That's not as bad, you know, as being gone like
Yeah.
180 days a year in a row.
Yeah, in a row. Exactly.
In a row. You know, like see you in 6 months, kids. You know? Like yeah, screw that. You know.
Well, I know we're pretty long on time. And so
I want to hear Jens Walter though.
Yeah, I want to hear Jens Walter. Or
Do we need to set up a
Declan or-
scene?
What's the scene here?
Okay, so
We're talking about how overpowered the Caymans are in SD, maybe.
that'd be good. I'd love that. Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to channel it because I need to have a two-way conversation.
Right. Hey, why are those Caymans so fast in ST?
You know, the thing is with the Caymans, it's a big problem with the Caymans because why are the Caymans in this class? Why is the Cayman is not a Miata, a Honda. There's no touring car there in the Cayman. I'm kind of butchering this a little bit, but I can't.
I don't care.
No.
That
At
was
least
awesome.
that I'm hearing myself. It
It's
doesn't
that,
sound
that
right when I
big
do
empty
it.
Jens Walter smile that sells it.
The smile.
big smile,
He's got the
yeah,
big
yeah.
smile, and he's like, so you know, like, but the GS Cayman is going to be a great car, and the GT3 is a great car. You should look into, you know, doing some club races with that.
Nice.
You know?
Nice. I like it.
That's good.
And then if we could get a Declan out of you, that would just make
Just
the whole
one
thing.
Declan.
Right.
Very dismissive. Yeah.
No, the funniest thing is like Glenn and I talk about cars all the time, and he's like a car super fan. So he'll forward me a link to some super obscure car, like a Renault rally car,
Right.
Group 4, or something like that. And I'll be like, hey, I really, you know, I think I'd like to try to find one of these for my collection. Something like I'll give him a list. I'll say like, hey, you know, like a air-cooled Porsche race car prototype or something like that. Like, how much do those cost? And, like, go ask somebody,
Right.
like, you know, if you can. And he'll be like, oh, back in '82, that car was unflipping believe. You know, it was like it would go down the fucking straight, and like, you know,
Yeah.
What he said?
it was
Pretty good.
And he's
Pretty
like,
good.
oh, it was raining one time, and then Donahue was driving, and he just like freaks out about like some obscure. And I was like, dude, I wasn't even born yet.
The
You know what I
face.
mean?
He's even got the face.
Yeah,
He's got like
it's just
Declan
like-
looks
he
like
does
he's
the
in,
face,
he's like,
yeah.
Oh, like it's so painful for him to
Exactly.
remember because
True,
it was
true.
so awesome. It's like
Right.
rushing into his skin.
too much.
Too much awesomeness.
Yep.
But he's great. You know, we have a lot of fun. And one of the things is so Eric is our GM at our car stores, and he's a big South Side Chicago guy. Like talks like the dudes from the Bears skit on
Oh,
Saturday
nice.
Night.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, so we got Declan coming in
Miss
near,
Mazda.
you know, Declan seems, God, I mean, he seems a little sensitive on that email about the thing, about the order. And then Andrus is like, oh, yeah, you know, we got to get the cars ready for Coda. And then Declan's like, oh, right, oh, it's going to be great. Steven's like this, you know, and like all, you know, whatever. So it's like we have these powwows where everybody's just sort of like laughing at everybody else.
Right.
And then, you know, then they always make a joke about me just wasting money on something, you know, completely unrelated to
Just
everything
keeping them
else.
in
you know.
a,
It's
in a
like,
job.
like a sports car team.
Yeah.
No,
like their
even
career.
even worse, because if I buy a street car that's expensive, it has no bearing on our race team, our dealerships, or
Right.
anything. So
Right.
everyone's like, you should have spent that money on this
Oh
or
yeah.
that or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm
You're
like,
just like no.
listen, if I'm not wasting money on sports cars, I'm not a pro athlete.
yeah,
you know?
exactly. Come on, you got an
So-
image to uphold.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so final kind of thing for themes for the show. We want to do the one word
Pissing
now?
in seats. What are we talking about?
No, we're not talking about that. Pompelli.
Well, we should do
covered that.
Yeah, we covered that. We should do the closeout.
Yeah, do your thing.
And then, well, you can do it this
No,
time.
I've done everything else today.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
Wow.
We can't post
Yeah,
that.
that's it.
Yeah, that's a trademark.
That's trademark.
Yeah, we're gonna
Dang
get
it.
sued. Wait, are you sponsored by them?
No.
Damn it.
No,
We can't.
no,
we
I
can't get
wish.
in under the
well, but maybe
umbrella
if we leave it in, we can get some free games.
But
or sued.
Or sued.
Or sued.
One or the other. But Madden NFL's looking good.
Really, that wasn't us. CJ
you're
said it.
totally sued.
Yeah, CJ said it. I didn't say it.
You know what's great though is going to Supercross and stuff like that when they announce the racers.
Yeah.
I wish
Oh,
they
yeah.
did that. Why don't-
Motocross.
Yeah. Sunday, Ricky Carmichael's back. You know,
Monster pup.
Monster Jam.
Yeah, it's always the
Anaheim Stadium.
We should do that, but just for ST.
the monster trucks are. Oh, okay.
It just-
But that's what I was
Yeah,
gonna say. Like,
yeah.
why don't they do? What if they did racing like that? They're like, Eversley to the lead.
Yeah, Eversley in the wall again.
Gimple hanging out. McCumbee getting ready. Randy Popst
Tired.
creeping on people.
Okay.
No, that's fine.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
continue,
what it's all
please.
about. He's never gonna hear it. I know you have like a supermodel wife you got to get home to. Poor guy. Sean, anything?
No, I got nothing.
Okay, cool.
How'd you guys like the burritos and tacos?
Actually, the taco was excellent.
Pretty
did-
awesome.
Yeah.
We didn't get the green salsa though. But you guys
Oh, I
should try.
failed.
Just do like a little drive by on the way out.
Yeah, just like dip my hand in there.
dip. It's like sticking your whole mouth in the bowl.
You dipped. You win again.
You dipped, you took a bite, and you,
dipped
dipped again. Yeah. Brittany's, God, I miss Seinfeld, right? That was the show.
Have you got to meet him through the car stuff?
Not yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah, he's
a
a
huge fan of his.
Awesome gearhead.
Big fan of his. I love
Yeah.
the comedians and cars getting coffee
yeah.
thing.
Yeah, same.
The Michael Richards one got a little bit too weird.
That was weird.
It was
yeah,
like-
he like goes and knocks on that random dude's door. And whose house did he think it was? That was like Jay Moore's house or something.
It was weird too because then they were talking. They got all like meta and they were like, and they're like, yeah, we're never going to be able to do anything like that ever again. That was like a unique situation. Like that was the role of a lifetime. Like I'm pretty much washed up now.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was
exactly.
like, whoa, this
Like,
is awkward, Michael Richards.
Okay.
He's like,
so
I'm gonna go
how's the
joke with-
coffee?
Yeah, I'm gonna go joke with Alec Baldwin next week. Never mind.
Right.
So we should do that though sometime. We should get all three of us in a two-seater, and then
We spent
No,
enough time in cars
You
together.
didn't listen. Stop doing that. Don't let anybody drive in your P1.
Yeah.
All
Well,
right.
I think on that note,
Okay.
I think that's all we got.
well, thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
absolutely.
Thanks for coming, man. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
Continental's got the check.
Thanks, Sherry.
I'm finished.
And that that was CJ Wilson. Pretty cool to take the time to meet with us. The off season for him had just started, and he had a pretty busy week of track days. So, also really dug that place, Las Barcas in Huntington Beach, California. Just a small little burrito stop, really, but good food, awesome chips. God bless them. Anyway, so sending us out, we're going to replay another favorite group of ours, a band called Stony Spring. Here's Wild Ass to Hell, also available on iTunes, thanks to Continental.
Should've killed me last year. You can't kill Lazarus twice. Walk while you have the light. Now wave your palms, throw down your panties, clear the way, clear the way. Smile a wee, but take a good look. Bring me that untamed ass and start writing your book. Ride that wild ass to hell. I'm gonna ride that wild ass to hell. Just a shut-eye ride to the other side, and I know I'm gonna come again and again. Yeah, 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 Everyone wants something, but someone wants everything, and it takes a worried man to execute that big mother's plan. I'm sweating through my linen. I need a smooth ride to Jennings, baby. Ride that wild ass to hell. I'm gonna ride that wild ass to hell. It's just a shut-eye ride to the other side, and I know I'm gonna come again and again and again. Happy are those who are called to my supper. Bring me that untamed ass and start writing your book, baby. Save me, Father, or don't save me. This thing's already in motion. I don't need your magic potion. What did you think I was? Some kind of gelding? Hell no! I can feel the mind and body melding. They wouldn't show Elvis from the waist down either. You think the people want half a liter? Ha! The more you Philistines told me, the more your wayward women want me. Ride that wild ass to hell. I'm gonna ride that wild ass to hell. Just a shut-eye ride to the other side.